Hello everybody, my name is Rotem H and I'm part of the business platform organization at Maersk. I'm here with my business colleagues Zeena and Carsten, talking to you from Web Summit 2022 from the beautiful city of Lisbon. Before we get started, maybe you guys can introduce yourself.
Yep, I'm Zeena Rogersen. I look after mobile and digital customer experience.
And I'm Carsten Olsen. I'm heading up the Maersk.com platform portfolio. So that is what we do: web, EDI, API, mobile, and Maersk.
Very cool. Awesome. So let's start with a few quick questions to get things warm up. So maybe first question for you, Carsten. Many industries have been disrupted over the last couple of years, being the banking industry, the commerce industry, and many others. But it seems like the supply chain industry, the logistics industry, is a little bit lagging behind. Can you share some of your thoughts of what may be the main blockers for our ability to transform?
Definitely. I'll actually maybe start a different place, because I think that there has been, over the past few years, there has been progress on the digital agenda. You know, I think at Maersk we've been pushing really hard. We've been, co-creating with our customers and so on. So we do see a different mindset. We do see a different mentality, different uptake, and so on. And we do see a hard push on the digital agenda. So I think we start to see, trends emerging. I think some of the blockers are probably threefold. There's something around technology. I don't think that there's been put enough money into technology in the industry. I think once we saw some of those startups and disruptors coming in, I think that actually gave an incentive to put different investments in. So I think we start to see that emerging as well. I think there's something around people and mindset. I think we are coming from a conservative culture of logistics being what you do when you move boxes and move packages and so on. You're not thinking about creating different outcomes for customers using technology, and I think that's the kind of mindset we need to see finding its way in, and what we've seen being successful in other industries, leveraging tech to create different outcomes. And then I think from a process standpoint, I think we are far, far away from where we want to be. There's nothing in the industry that is standardized. Everything is super bespoke. A lot of complexities being built in. We are still using conventional old ways of engaging and integrating with customers on the basis of EDI. And until we get to that point of a different understanding of how to drive standards and accelerating and accelerating on top of those standards, I don't think we are going to move the needle fundamentally. So I think these are the main things, mindset, culture. We need to shift technology, we need to shift radically, and we need to drive standards to a different extent.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. If I may piggyback on some of your comments and talking specifically about Maersk and our journey in digital transformation. And so you've been with this company for some time now. Would be really great to hear from your perspective about the journey and the acceleration or none of acceleration that we're experiencing over the last couple of years.
Yeah. So, and I think this is a super point you're bringing up, because I think we've seen a little bit of a hockey stick since we actually started platforms. I think we have been traditionally shying away from where we know it's actually hurting. We know that in our order management in the ocean, GCSS has been serving us well for many years. We need to do something radically different to actually support our new business model and so on. And now we actually do it. So the fact that we actually have the courage to make these tough decisions, and we're actually putting the money and the talent in, that has actually seen a significant acceleration with the platform coming in. Modernization, standardization are key topics that we are working on and so on. So I do think that in the past 2-3 years we have seen that hockey stick effect, to the benefit of driving things much faster, getting the talent in, better standardization, new tech and so on, to drive these different outcomes for our customers. So big change.
That's great to hear, and I just want to leverage your sentiment about customers and going back to Zeena. And so it will be really interesting to hear your perspective about our customers' readiness for digital transformation.
Yeah.
How many of them are actually ready to interact with Maersk digitally, not manually?
Yeah, great question. So we're super lucky. We've got a really interesting, diverse set of customers. Some of the biggest global brands, some of the newest startups, and they're located in all different regions, have different contexts, and have different needs from us as a business. But the one thing that's consistent and similar, I think, to you and I in both our professional and personal lives is they want to self-serve through digital. Nobody wants to go to a bank anymore. You want to access all the services online. You go online and buy your shopping, you don't go into a traditional retailer. And we're seeing a similar trend from our customers. So digital's become table stakes for us. It's no longer a conversation of do they or don't they need that. We see 95% of our transactions coming through digital. And that might be through direct integrations into our customers' ecosystems, through API. It might be out-of-the-box solutions that we can provide through websites, and increasingly applications where we're seeing the fastest month-on-month growth from our customers. So that means that we have millions of users across the world and thousands of customers every month using our services in different regions, with different contexts, with different regulation, with different systems and processes that they want to access. So some of the exciting challenges and solutions we're trying to build is to simplify the millions of variations that our customers can access through our products and services. And that's probably the main barrier to total digitalization as we simplify, as we modernize, as we try and automate, and most importantly, try and recommend the best services for our customers at that stage in their journey.
So you mentioned customers are very diverse in their needs.
Yeah.
Do we see any specific country, specific segment, specific area in the customer spectrum that is more keen for modernization, that is more keen for digital interaction with us?
Good question. I wouldn't necessarily say more or less keen, but they definitely have different needs. So I'll give two examples, one in Africa and one in China. We see our Chinese market as an almost entirely mobile market, and that's really due to customer or user preference. They're choosing to engage with us through their mobile application or increasingly through their mobile social channels. So we have to adapt the kinds of products and services we're offering to that specific market. On the other side of the coin, in Africa, we have a similar regional consideration to make around our customers. It's less around channel preference and more about actual need. So our customers are using mobile because that's the device they've got.
Yep.
So instead of optimizing mobile for a really sophisticated set of customers in China, we're just delivering the basics of mobile for a real customer need in the simplest, easiest way for them to access.
That's interesting. Do we consider COVID as an accelerator for some of our customers wanting more mobile way of operating with us?
Great question. So I can give you a customer anecdote.
Yeah.
We spoke to a customer, one of our top mobile users, and tried to understand what's actually driven him and his team to move off their desktop computers and move onto their mobile devices. And COVID was the real driver for that, as him and his team started working more from home or remotely instead of their offices. So they moved from their traditional channels to new channels so that they could do their job on the go or in their location of choice. He explained that he accesses the Maersk app and the Maersk mobile website on the treadmill, which I literally couldn't believe. I mean, if I'm on the treadmill dying, let alone thinking about doing some work. He said he accesses it on the train, on the way to work, and he accesses and has changed his channels as a result of changing his work-life environment and balance.
Got you. Moving quickly from mobile to our end-to-end digital value proposition to customers. One element that we were doubling down at Maersk over the last couple of years is about personalization. We again didn't invent the wheel. There are many industries that have been adopting some kind of personalization in the past as part of their digital disruption, but really keen to hear from you, Carsten, about how we leverage personalization and how much customers are appreciative of this new approach when we serve them digitally.
Yeah. This is probably one of the biggest opportunities we have right now, because I think we come from a point where it has been a little bit, just pushing everything to everybody and see, who would actually take it. And when we actually look at the behavior of our customers, they're actually behaving much more like they would on a consumer platform, like, when you're buying sofas on Wayfair, toilet seats on Amazon or whatever it is, right? And we need to actually provide them with the same type of experience, making it simple for them, show up with a relevant proposition when they're actually willing to buy with us, so they don't have to, surf around and find products that are relevant to them. So we have been over the past year and a half actually building those capabilities on the platform. So now actually when you land on Maersk.com, you get a content piece that is either based on your past behavior, the segment you belong to, the industry vertical you come from, and so on. So that is sort of a way of selling more digitally rather than actually having feet on the street and sort of luring customers in. So we've used it for our content piece, and now we're actually sort of putting that into our transactional flow as well. And that means we can now actually start pushing propositions directly to individual users. It's not so much about companies or segments, but individual users and their needs that we're taking into account. So we built a number of algorithms that actually allow us to push relevant information, which could be, selling insurance when customers are the most willing to buy, push visibility data when they actually need it. So we build those algorithms that constantly is being trained based on behaviors, geographies, industry verticals, and so on and so forth. It's really an exciting opportunity to do something fundamentally different on an industry platform that we couldn't do in the past.
So it's pretty clear of what we're focusing today. If you need to close your eyes and strategize or have a vision for how personalization can help our customers in the next 5 to 10 years, what would be changing in your answer?
Yeah, but then it's using personalization and recommendation to drive completely different customer outcomes. So this is actually about having digital control towers that is sort of responding to the problems you have, that point out what you need to do, that basically go solve problems for you whenever possible and so on. So proactively dealing with you as an individual in the industry you belong to and the type of customer you are. So this is sort of truly an end-to-end, digital logistics capability that is tailor-made to the needs that you have as an individual user, and making life, truly easier. And to me, it's a fundamental departure from how we are currently engaging with our customers. So a lot of great opportunities coming in the next 5 to 8 years on that part.
Zeena, going back to you.
Yeah.
You're one of the examples of female leaders, digital native, that we were able to be very fortunate and attract from different digital companies and coming and joining our journey here at Maersk. Would be really interesting to hear your perspective about your journey so far and maybe the main learnings.
Yeah. 2 years ago, I would have never thought I would be sitting talking to colleagues working in logistics. It wasn't something that felt attractive or interesting or relevant to me. As I started to look into Maersk a bit more and learn about the business, I realized that at the heart it's a technology company trying to solve real-world challenges for real people, like me, like you, like our families, to improve the way world's goods move, Maersk representing or touching 30% of them. And I realized I could be part of changing the world. And I know that sounds like a really big statement, but part of a team that is working to change the world. And as I started meeting more colleagues, I realized they were some of the smartest people I've met with the biggest ambitions to change the way logistics and technology work to serve customers. And probably, most excitingly, probably one of the biggest transformations that are going on in Europe at the moment.
Thank you. And Carsten, going back to you, so it's really interesting to hear your perspective about the injection of this new digital native talent. Over the last 2 years, we have onboarded hundreds of digital native leaders and executives coming from the best of Silicon Valley can offer, being Amazon or Google or Expedia or Wayfair, you name it. How do you feel that the injection has been so far? How 1 + 1 equals 3 and not 2? Some of your perspective will be interesting.
So I talked a little bit earlier about one of the blockers to digital transformation is about different ways of thinking and injecting different ways of thinking into our traditional culture. And I have seen a massive change, like literally, from the first day where we got people in with the caps the other way around and Doc Martens and so on, right? But something felt different. And you suddenly had this set of standard bearers for something that was just different. They talk different, they look different, they behave different. But that to me has been an amazing push in the direction that we see now towards the digital transformation, towards actually getting a massive amount of talent in that can actually help teaching me, different vocabularies and different ways of thinking product and tech and so on. So to me, this has been one of the secret sauces and one of the key success factors of where we are today. Pretty amazing journey we've been on over the past 2 years, 3 years, getting that talent into the organization.
So thank you, Carsten, and thank you, Zeena, for great answers. It made me think about the next interview that we're going to take together and what else can we share with the world. It's been a pleasure to partner with you and pleasure to represent Maersk at Web Summit 2022. We should all be so proud of our representation in one of the biggest tech conferences in the world, and that's just the beginning. More to come. Thank you.